Have you ever spoken in haste and immediately regretted it? Have your words ever caused conflict, misunderstanding, or pain that could have been avoided? The problem many of us face is that we don't realize how powerful our words are. In today's discussion, we will uncover why silence can be more valuable than speech and how mastering it can change your life. Life is filled with moments when our words can either build bridges or burn them. Sometimes the most powerful action we can take is not to speak at all. In this fast-paced world, where opinions are exchanged like currency, learning the art of silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. Today, we are going to explore a skill that can transform your relationships, your career, and your inner peace. The ability to know when to speak and when to remain silent. The first lesson in learning to keep your mouth shut is realizing that silence is not emptiness or weakness, it is strength. Many of us live in a world filled with constant noise, notifications, conversations, arguments, and opinions. Every day, we are bombarded with information, and often our minds respond by reacting instantly, speaking without thinking, and creating chaos both inside and outside ourselves. Silence, however, is like a refuge for the mind. It is the calm center amidst the storm, a place where clarity and composure are nurtured. Imagine your mind as a lake. When you throw a stone into it, ripples disturb the surface, and the water loses its stillness. Similarly, hasty words create disturbances in relationships, misunderstandings, and unnecessary conflict. When we embrace silence, we allow our thoughts to settle, emotions to balance, and decisions to become wiser. Silence is not just about abstaining from speech. It is about creating a space to observe and understand yourself and others. Often we speak because we are uncomfortable with stillness or uncertainty. We fear that if we stay quiet, people will think we lack knowledge or presence. But in reality, true strength is found in restraint. When you pause before speaking, you give yourself a chance to reflect. You consider whether your words are necessary, kind, or helpful. You begin to notice patterns in your emotions and reactions, and gradually you gain control over impulses that previously dictated your speech. Consider moments in daily life: a disagreement with a friend, a tense situation at work, or a heated discussion with a family member. The instinct is to respond immediately, to defend, explain, or correct. Yet, when you choose silence, you gain perspective. You observe not only the situation, but also your own emotional state. You understand what is truly important and what can be left unsaid. Silence becomes a shield against unnecessary conflict and a tool to preserve relationships. Beyond conflict management, silence nurtures mindfulness and inner peace. When the mind is quiet, we are more present, more aware of our surroundings, and more attuned to the subtleties of life. Listening deeply, observing patiently, and responding thoughtfully are all possible only when we honor silence. In this way, silence is not an absence, but a presence that strengthens emotional intelligence, enhances empathy, and cultivates harmony in every interaction. The second lesson in learning to keep your mouth shut is understanding a truth so simple yet so powerful. Once words leave your mouth, they cannot be taken back. Every word carries weight, every sentence has energy, and every conversation leaves an imprint whether you realize it or not. We often underestimate the power of what we say. In a fleeting moment of anger, frustration, or excitement, we may speak without thinking, believing that words are harmless, that they will vanish as quickly as they were uttered. But the reality is far different. Words have consequences, and once spoken, they become seeds that grow in the minds and hearts of those who hear them. Think about the last time someone said something hurtful to you. The memory lingers because words leave impressions, shaping perception, trust, and emotions. Now consider the moments when you have spoken hastily. Maybe it was an argument with a colleague, a harsh remark to a friend, or a sarcastic comment to a loved one. Initially, it may have felt justified, even satisfying, but later you realize that the damage done is permanent. Words cannot be recalled like a missent message or erased like an email. They ripple outward, influencing relationships, reputations, and even your own sense of peace. Understanding this truth brings with it a profound sense of responsibility. Speaking recklessly is not just about offending someone, it is about surrendering control over the impact your words have on the world. Every time you feel the urge to react impulsively, pause and ask yourself, are my words necessary? Are they kind? Will they bring clarity or confusion? This simple moment of reflection can prevent countless regrets and unnecessary suffering. Silence, in this sense, becomes a guardian. It allows you to assess the value and consequences of your speech before releasing it into the world. Life is full of examples where a single word has changed everything. A harsh criticism can break a person's confidence, a thoughtless joke can sever a friendship, and a careless comment can escalate a situation beyond repair. Conversely, well-chosen words, spoken with thought and care, can heal wounds, build bridges, and inspire change. By learning to pause, by learning to keep your mouth shut until your words are deliberate and meaningful, you protect both yourself and those around you. You cultivate wisdom, discipline, and respect. When we speak with awareness, our words become tools rather than weapons. Silence is not about avoiding communication, it is about choosing the right moment, the right tone, and the right intention. It is about understanding that the tongue, though small, wields immense power. Every word is a seed planted in someone's heart, and it is up to us whether we sow seeds of love and understanding or seeds of pain and regret. The third lesson in learning to keep your mouth shut is discovering the immense power of listening. In a world that constantly celebrates talking, expressing opinions, and making one's voice heard, the art of listening is often overlooked. Yet, listening is not passive. It is an active, powerful practice that shapes understanding, builds trust, and fosters genuine connection. True wisdom is not measured by how much one speaks, but by how deeply one listens. When we learn to remain silent, we open the door to seeing, understanding, and experiencing life from perspectives we might otherwise miss. Listening allows us to step out of the narrow confines of our own mind and enter the world of another person. Each individual carries a story, a struggle, a perspective shaped by experiences we may never have encountered. When we choose to keep quiet and truly listen, we honor that person's existence and acknowledge their reality. Many conflicts arise not from disagreement alone, but from the lack of being heard. People speak to be understood, to find validation, or to release burdens of the heart. By offering the gift of silence and attentive presence, we often provide more support than any words could. Consider conversations in daily life. A friend sharing worries, a colleague expressing frustration, or a family member seeking advice. In these moments, our instinct is often to respond immediately, offering solutions, defending ourselves, or sharing our own stories. Yet, when we pause and listen with complete attention, we allow the other person to fully express themselves. We gain insight into their emotions, their motivations, and the nuances behind their words. Listening creates understanding, and understanding dissolves conflict, builds empathy, and strengthens relationships. Silence also sharpens our awareness. When we stop speaking, we begin to notice subtleties that words alone cannot convey. Tone, body language, pauses, and expressions. These nonverbal cues often reveal more truth than what is spoken aloud. A silent observer can sense emotions, detect intentions, and respond with wisdom rather than impulsivity. Listening becomes a tool to decode the unspoken and to respond thoughtfully, avoiding misunderstandings and unnecessary arguments. Furthermore, silence and listening cultivate patience and emotional intelligence. We become less reactive and more reflective. Instead of immediately asserting our own viewpoints, we learn to absorb, process, and respond with insight. This is why some of the wisest people in history spoke sparingly their words, carried authority and depth, because they listened first, understood deeply, and spoke only when their words truly mattered. In essence, listening is not the absence of speech. It is a higher form of communication. It allows us to connect, to learn, and to influence without imposing. When we master listening through the practice of silence, we unlock a power far greater than any amount of talking could ever achieve. The fourth lesson in learning to keep your mouth shut is realizing that silence is a cornerstone of respect, authority, and influence. In our society, many people believe that leadership and power come from speaking the most, from dominating conversations, or from always having an opinion ready. Yet, history and daily life show us the opposite. Those who speak thoughtfully, sparingly, and with intention command far more respect than those who speak constantly. Silence is not emptiness, it is presence. It communicates self-control, discernment, and wisdom in ways that words often cannot. When you speak less, people listen more. Your words carry weight because they are measured and deliberate. This creates an aura of authority not imposed, but earned. Consider leaders, mentors, or teachers you have respected in your life. Often they spoke less than others, but their words left an impact. They listened more than they spoke, observed more than they reacted, and acted with intention rather than impulse. People are naturally drawn to those who possess this quiet strength because such individuals do not waste words, they do not argue for the sake of proving a point, and they do not seek validation through constant speech. Silence also acts as a shield. In moments of controversy, disagreement, or provocation, the instinct to respond immediately is strong. But reacting hastily can escalate conflict, damage relationships, and diminish credibility. By choosing to remain silent, you create space for reflection, for understanding, and for responding strategically rather than emotionally. This restraint signals maturity, stability, and confidence qualities that inspire trust and respect. People know that your silence is not ignorance, but awareness. It communicates that you are not easily swayed by impulse, gossip, or pressure. Furthermore, silence cultivates influence in subtle but profound ways. When others speak and you listen attentively, they feel truly heard and they value your presence more. When you do choose to speak, your words carry authority, insight, and clarity. They are remembered, repeated, and respected. This is why some of the most influential figures in the world, spiritual leaders, philosophers, statesmen, have often been people of few words. Their impact was not measured by the volume of speech, but by the depth, timing, and intention behind each word they chose to share. Finally, silence demonstrates inner discipline. In a world that rewards noise, constant commentary, and the need to assert oneself, choosing silence is an act of courage. It reflects the ability to prioritize what truly matters, to hold back what is unnecessary, and to communicate only when it will serve a greater purpose. Through silence, you cultivate respect from others, authority in your interactions, and a reputation for wisdom that words alone cannot achieve. As we come to the end, take a moment to reflect on the power of silence. Life constantly tests us with situations that trigger words we may later regret, emotions that urge us to react, and opinions that push us to speak unnecessarily. Yet, real strength is not in filling the air with noise, it is in choosing when to speak and when to remain silent. By embracing silence, we protect our peace, nurture understanding, and cultivate respect. We learn to listen deeply, to observe keenly, and to respond thoughtfully. Remember, words are seeds. Some heal, some harm. Let your silence be intentional, your words be measured, and your presence speak louder than speech ever could. In mastering this art, you will discover not only the power of restraint, but also the profound wisdom and influence that comes from knowing when to keep your mouth shut.